Good night, Crab Hill. Good night to each and every one of you. There's a beauty and a freshness in the air that every time I come up here, you feel special. And I want to thank you for coming out in your numbers. I suspect that, like me, a few of you may have passed coming down here and saw a meeting. I still could not find out who they were talking to because I didn't see anybody other than the cars passing on the highway. But I suppose if you are an undertaker, you are in the business of talking to yourself since the dead can't talk back to you. Look, I want to say to you that this is the second time in the last few weeks that I would have had the opportunity to speak here in St. Lucie. And I've been walking on the ground with Peter and with some of you over the course of the last 2 weeks as well. And I've had the opportunity to be able to make the case to you, to some of you, and to be able to ask you formally to allow us to continue the work. And one of the things that we've been very, very clear on is that this is a government in the middle of a mission and in the middle of working. The whole of St. Lucie looks like a construction site at the moment. The whole of St. Lucie. And it is largely because this government, this Barbados Labour Party administration, made a commitment to you that for years, some even tell me decades, that you have been facing variations of the problem with water in this parish. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I don't get to choose the hand that I have, but I will play the hand that I have. And it meant that when I looked at the facts, I recognized that it was important, one, to fix the problem, and two, to appreciate that those of you who were affected here in St. Lucie and in parts of St. Peter deserve to be able to get an ease recognizing the scale of the problem that you are facing. I am not going to tell you that it was easy, and it is not easy. And the tall man there that is talking a lot, called Colin Jordan, will tell you that in parts of St. Peter, he has had to face the same problem. And we did not discriminate. We said that between April last year, 1, and the end of March this year, we are going to go about methodically replacing the mains in the parish of St. Lucie, and we are going to go as well to change the filters out in Allendale so as to ensure that there could be a solution for you. And part of this came from over the course of the last few years, and in particular in the last election, I got to walk through this parish at length and got to know a number of you. And you were very, very clear with me as to what you expected, and I would like to believe that my government has equally been clear in making sure that we can deliver for you in this respect. I have seen an improvement in the quality and the color of most of the people I have visited in this parish. In fact, all that I have visited thus far. And I give you the assurance that we will not rest until we have finished properly. But the benefit of also laying new mains means that reinstatement of the roads must happen. And the reinstatement of the roads is taking place such that once the mains are completed, yesterday I was in Pike Corner. And given the fact that the mains there going up to date 3 years have been completed, the people are now milling up the rest of the road, and I expect that the paving of that road will take place, for example, next week. You here in Crab Hill, there were 3 roads tendered, and 1 has already been finished, and the other 2 are being undertaken as we speak. We have also indicated that Stroud Bay must be included. And all for you, darling. All for you. And we are aware that there are some little areas like Moore's Land off of it that will now have to be surveyed and which eventually will be done as part of the Tenantries Road and Cart Road paving program, residential road paving program. Now, why am I saying these things? There are some people who look at the middle of a construction site and want you to believe that nothing is being done, and want you to believe that as a result of that, you should not vote for Peter Phillips or the Barbados Labour Party. But as you've seen here in Crab Hill already, that there are some roads starting to be finished, and that just because a road is not yet finished is no reason to sentence yourself to 5 years of hard labor. You have a Democratic Labour Party that is now running 5 or 6 separate campaigns. And make no mistake about it, your candidate down here from the Democratic Labour Party, Ian Griffith, is running a campaign that is separate from Ralph Thorne. Ryan Walters is running another one. Richard Seeley is running the next one. David Estwick always running his own because the pit bull can't live in the body. Simon Clark in St. Philip playing Yes Simon, and he running his own. How can you expect a party that cannot even run a campaign to be able to run a country and run a government? And that is why I've said to you that if it is not broken, you do not need to fix it. And I am not going to tell you that things are perfect, because perfection belongs only to God. But what I will tell you is, just as we are doing with the water, when you identify a problem, we go about in trying to understand it and to fix it. With respect to the roads, and we've said it all across the island, you went through a period of time where first and foremost we started off with a backlog when we came to office, and we didn't have the money to be able to do the things at the pace that we would like, because as you know, the country was broke. And when we got the debt restructuring out the way in December 2019, the next month was COVID, and therefore we all know that everybody was shouting to get outside because we were restricted and locked down, and it meant no roads, no houses, none of those things were done in that period of time. Now that we've started back and we have a little extra elbow room, a little capacity to do some more, all cannot happen at the same time. Because just from the very logistical issue of traffic flow, if we were to dig up each artery at the very same time, we would have literally an impossible situation. But I want you to know tonight that this Labour Party government has seen you and heard you. And separate from all of that, the level of jobs and activity that is happening in the north of the country will continue to ensure that you and your families are given every possible opportunity. When I ask most of the people in the tourism belt where they live, they tell me St. Lucie and St. Peter. And therefore, all of these hotels and this investment that is coming is likely to benefit you. Secondly, the opportunities in renewable energy are there for you. The opportunities for us to further resolve the water issue by building a desalination plant. The last government gave out 2 contracts for a desal plant to do 6 million gallons a day at a price that was astronomically high. And we came into office and said, no, this cannot work, stop it. We recognize that we still need a desal plant, but that the ownership of that plant should be by ordinary Bajans. And I want the people of St. Lucie to listen to me, because you are getting more disposable income in your pockets. And you are going to be at the center of helping this country provide water in the north. You are going to be at the center of having the wind energy farm at Lambert's eventually get off the ground. And we took people, Lisa Cummins took a number of the residents from there and took them to Jamaica to see how you can coexist next to the wind energy farm and what are the possibilities of benefits and investment for you. And you know why this is special? Because this government sees you and is not saying that somebody should come in with big pockets and deep pockets and make these investments and the rest of you watch on and nothing is to happen. And I ask you tonight, when you see a government that is prepared to create opportunities, then as you put aside your savings, not all, but you get the opportunity to put a little something down so that the same time you are paying a water bill, you can earn dividends from the water company with respect to the desal plant, especially if it is in your backyard here in St. Lucie. Now I tell you these things because you have not heard anything that seeks not just to put money in your pocket, but to create wealth for you and your family from Ralph Thorne and Ian Griffith and them. And what is amazing, as I said, is that you have a campaign that is almost imploding on itself because different people are running different campaigns. Now this parish is full of people who are proud. And I cannot for the life of me understand how Ralph can feel that not presenting a plan and a proper program to the people of Barbados in a manifesto could be acceptable, but he can go to Trinidad and go on Trinidad television and try to present a vision as well as to bad talk this country to Trinidadians. Now, for him, there got to be some moral minimum when it relates to where you bad talk this country and where and what you say. But it doesn't exist. And I have come to the conclusion that he just does not care. Because if your voters are in Barbados, unless you are going to Trinidad to satisfy somebody who is helping the Democratic Labour Party, what is there to gain from it? You say that I travel, but when I travel, you all see what I bring back for the country and how the country benefits. Ralph instead now determines that he wants to talk to the people of Trinidad as if the people in San Fernando and Caroni and Port of Spain voted for him, instead of coming and addressing the issues that face you. And as it relates to Ian Griffith, he himself is unbelievable to Ralph Thorne. Because when he started talking about having to pay, well, how much a month? Or how much a week? $1,000 a week? Who can believe that? And you get the sense that this is a man just running round the course for the sake of it, and to say, I ran an election one time. Well, give him that opportunity, and when he's ready, he can go and talk to who you're accustomed talking to, whether it is the dead or otherwise, to be able to boast about them things. What is important is the ability to make sure that just as previous Labour Party administrations made sure that under the Tenantries Freehold Purchase Act, many of you could become landowners in this country, that we would want to give you the opportunity going forward to become also persons that can share in the action out there. And that action, be it in a desal plant or in a wind energy plant at Lambert's, will help supplement your income so long as you are given these opportunities. I want to remind you tonight, and there's some of you that I met here who are on welfare and who expressed that things really were a little tight. And I told you, hold tight as well, because I'm going to announce something in the manifesto. And I'm also going to make some additional announcements. And you have therefore heard in the last 5-6 days that we will be increasing welfare come the 1st of March by 30% in this country. So that if you were getting $300 in benefits, you would now get $390. And if you were getting $200, you would get $260. And that is money in your pocket to offset the cost of living. We also told you that if you are a pensioner, whether a contributory pensioner or non-contributory, and the same welfare recipient, and the same people who receive special needs grants, whether for disabled children or adults, that you will now get a cost of living cash grant, which will allow you to receive $1,200 a year. You can take it $100 a month. You can take it $300 a quarter. You can take it $600 every half year. Or you can hold it if you have a bill to pay that is a big bill at the end of the year. And this is on top of your pension. This is on top of your welfare increases. This is on top of the special needs grant. This is not idle talk. Ralph comes to you and tell you he can reduce VAT to 15% and he can abolish all taxes on pensions. And he's talking about other things. Can't tell you how he can finance it. But I have already shown you that in the document that I had to sign as Minister of Finance as to the state of this country's financial circumstances, you saw it in the back page of The Nation 2 days ago, that there was a surplus of $148 million between April 1st and November of last year. And the whole financial year is not over, Colin and Peter, until when, Sandra? March 31st. So that we more than have the capacity to be able to finance the things that we are talking about. For those of you who get the reverse tax credit, again, up and down this country talking about these packages because this government is putting money back in your pockets. That reverse tax credit now will go from $1,300 to $1,700. And let me remind you that when we came into office, it was $650. Let me remind you that when we came into office, Only people earning $1,500 a month and under got it. Now people earning $2,080 and under get it. And we are now introducing a new reverse tax credit for people who earn between $2,080 and $2,916 a month. You will now get, when you file in the same December after you file from this year, $750 to help offset the taxes that you have paid. You understand why I tell him an intro? We are now, as well, those last people that can get the $750 have not been paying a cent in income tax in this country for the last 6 years, because we told you that whatever you pay in income tax, you will get back as a credit, what I have now come to call the government meeting turn. You pay month by month by month by month. And when you file your income tax, you get back every single cent. So that those people who were earning $2,900 a month and paying just about $100 a month in taxes get back $1,250 at the end of the year when they file their taxes. So you're going to get back that $1,250, and you're going to then get the $750 reverse tax credit, $2,000 back in your hand. Almost a whole month's salary. And it doesn't end there. For the first time now, we are extending that government meeting turn, that compensatory income credit, to people earning between the same $2,916 a month and $4,166. The one number that I know everybody in this audience knows is the salary. Not true? Everybody knows the salary. So that if you get in between $2,916 a month and $4,166, you will also not end up paying a cent in income tax so long as this government can afford it in any year. You are now paying $270 a month in tax. You will file your income tax returns in April, and by the October, you will get back the equivalent of $2,875 in your pocket if you were paying and receiving $4,000 a month. Obviously, if your salary is $3,000, it would be a little less. But I give you the example of what you would get back at $4,000 a month. And then there are those who tell me, well, Prime Minister, what are you doing for the middle class? There's still got some of us in here that are earning more than $50,000 a year. And I said to you that I am going to let you know, should you make us the government next week again, in March. And let me tell you why. People forget that in 2019, I reduced income tax rates in this country. For the first $25,000, the body don't pay the tax. For the next $50,000, you were paying taxes of 16.5%. I reduced it to 12.5%. And if you were therefore earning $75,000 a year, you would have saved $2,000 a year in the payment of income taxes because of this Barbados Labour Party government. If you went above that, anything above that $50,000 of taxable income was being taxed at 33.5%. And I reduced it to 28.5%. Break that down for you. For a body earning $100,000 a year, you would have gotten a reduction of $3,250 and multiply that by 6 years. Because if it wasn't for this Labour Party, you wouldn't have that in your pocket each year for the last 6 years. So that the body earning 100,000 has gotten back almost $20,000 that they would not have had to pay in the last 6 years. And the person earning 50,000 would have received a benefit of $1,000 times 6 years. I have to break it down. Because when all is said and done, what are we still doing for you when we put more money in your pocket? You still had your electricity cap with the VAT. You still got a basket of goods with no VAT on the food and on sanitary items and on baby items. You still got no import duties on that. You still turn around and get us to cap how we calculate duties on other goods because of the price of containers rising, and we wanted to make sure that the increase in the cost of containers don't affect you. You still get your children to go to university and community college and a polytechnic free. And I just left Ilara Court where 378 black people graduated in all kinds of courses, from timber construction to wig and hair to small engine repairs to plumbing to all kinds of areas. People who did not think they would ever get a chance to do something in this life again. And one guy from Nelson Street, he said, you know, people don't feel nothing good can come out of Nelson Street. But I now have my business, and I have now been trained, and I now have my power wash machine for the cars. The next man in St. Philip, same thing. We have not stopped any of this programming for your children. Some of the children in the Youth Advanced Corps come from St. Lucie. We turn around and we're fighting to be able to make sure that the polyclinics and the hospital receive what they need to. I say to you, my friends, if it is not broken, do not try to fix it. This government is not perfect, but we are a good government doing good works for the people of this country. We do not practice in the politics of locking out people from anywhere, headquarters or any buildings. We do not practice in the politics of not knowing how to run a meeting with lights. Look at the lights here already. And I ain't even got to tell you about the tokens that Ralph won't put in the money. Won't put in the lights in St. Philip. If you cannot run a meeting, how can you run a country? It is too basic. And one of the things that bothers me is that there is a spitefulness. You want to eat? You want to eat? You want to eat? I got to starve you. Who does that? Who does that? So my friends, you have a chance here in St. Lucie to keep Barbados going on track. You have a chance to make sure that this country can go greater, greater, greater. You have a chance to make sure that a party that puts you at the center of development can be returned to office next week. But I want you to know that no amount of red shirts out here gonna cause Peter Phillips to win. Because every ballot box starts with what? With 0. And therefore, I want to remind you that support is not votes. And unless you go into that voting station and you put that X next to Peter Phillips's name, you cannot help the Barbados Labour Party become the government again next week. It is as simple as that. And I ask you that if you want me to be your Prime Minister, and you want me to lead this country, then you need to vote for Peter Phillips next Wednesday. If you want the good work to continue, and if you want to keep getting money in your pocket, you need to vote for Peter Phillips next Wednesday. And if you want us to solve the problem of the water in a way that no previous government has addressed its minds to it, I want you to vote for Peter Phillips next Wednesday. And I say to you, I know that some of you may be weary, because the last 7 years has gone from crisis to crisis to crisis. Indeed, one of the gentlemen who lost his roof in the freak storm passed away only recently and is burying tomorrow. And I had cause to remember how he felt when he living alone in his house and saw the entire house literally blown away around him. And he hid under the cellar until the wind could die down so that he could cross the road and go into the garage of a neighbor, just like a garage like there, just there like that. The horror that he experienced as an elderly man caused me to recognize that we are not playing with this thing called climate. And the truth is that it is your government, this government, that has been putting arrangements in place to make sure that people can get hurricane straps for the roofs, that people will start to construct different types of roofs. You can't keep building flat roofs anymore. You got to go back to the gable or go back to the hip roofs. And those of you who do not yet have hurricane straps, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, get the hurricane straps put on your houses, because you know that wind loves St. Lucie. And you're now finding out that rain loves St. Lucie too, in ways that did not happen before. So my friends, next Wednesday, I want that when Thursday comes as it is today, that you will no longer be saying, I am red and ready, because you are already red for the week. And you will be now coasting your way into Valentine's Day on the Saturday, wearing your red, proud as you did from the beginning of the week, knowing full well that red is going to deliver you out of these difficult circumstances. I want you to recognize that in Peter Phillips, you may not always have someone who is going to talk in your face about everything he does. And that is my problem with him, because his record is much larger than he has been prepared to talk about. And Peter, when you come here, let the people know the good work that you have been doing in St. Lucie. And I say to you that for those of you who are still waiting for things to be done, if I cook a pot of rice and stew now, you can't all serve from the pot at the same time, but everybody will eat the food. And it therefore means that you got to go through things piece by piece by piece by piece. And I have come here tonight as your Prime Minister to give you the assurance, the people of St. Lucie, that I have you in my heart and that I have you in my plans and that we will continue. I have spoken to you, and we literally got distracted because we had to build 2,700 houses and build or repair for Elsa. But the Civic Center and the other plans for St. Lucie will come, because the truth is that you will also continue to be the location for light industrial manufacturing and jobs in this country, so that you will have the benefit of tourism, you will have the benefit of renewable energy, you will have the benefit of light industrial manufacturing, as happened in the past and has disappeared for 30, 40 years with Atlantic Manufacturing and other plants that shut down over the years. All of that will come back. And if you look at the Labour Party's manifesto, you will see that St. Lucie is one of the 5 key locations for the reindustrialization of Barbados. So my friends, I leave you tonight confident that you have a good man and you have a good party wanting to work on your behalf. The only thing left is for you to seal the deal. We can do no more. But if you find it in your hearts to ensure that Peter Phillips is your representative come next week and that this Labour Party government is returned, I give you my word that we will continue to make your life in St. Lucie better, because greater will our nation grow with the programs and policies of the Barbados Labour Party. Good night and God bless you all.